Hi guys, it's Crystal with Design Bundles. Today I'm going to show you guys how to make decals with your Cricut. So we're going to go ahead and pick out our design. The one I'm using today is Get Off My Tail. It's super cute. So you want to go ahead and pick out what design you're making first. So that's the very first step. Is it multiple colors? Is it going to be one color? This is actually only one plus credit if you guys are a plus member. All right, so this is what it looks like. Now, right now, the way they have it designed is in two different colors, but you could definitely make it one. So I'm going to show you a few different options when it comes to making decals for your back window. So think about tinted windows. You definitely don't want black vinyl. You really want to stick with white or something that's going to really pop off of it and not blend in it. Holographics are great. So as you guys can see here, the lighter color holographics. This is holographic threads from Cricut. It's super pretty, and this is one of the ones I'm going to be using today. So I'm going to go ahead and set that out of the way. You could also do glitters. So you could do like a white glitter. Just you want to really stick with those permanent vinyls, if you will. Now, removable vinyl will come permanent over time. I have used it for window decals. Now, as you guys can see, you can even do patterns. So these will pop off just as well. So find something super bright and vibrant, nothing too dark. Now, one way to figure out if it's going to work perfect is take a black t-shirt and then place your material on top just to see if it pops off of that. So, if you were doing a laptop, you would want to lay it on top of your laptop just to see if it would pop off of it. All right, so we're going to go ahead and be using this one today. As you guys can see, it's really pretty. The next thing we need to talk about is transfer tape. What transfer tape should you use? There's clear ones. There's ones that have almost like a milky color to them, a little bit transparent, but has, like this one right here has got a little bit milky. It's not super clear. This would be perfect. It doesn't have any designs. Like, for example, with the Cricut, it says Cricut on it. It has little lines. Same with the Caesar. You wouldn't want to use this if you were trying to be professional. This would be for home use, personal use, but this one would be great because it's clear as well and it works great. Another one to think about is, the Caesar, like I said, it has lines as well. The paper, there's paper transfer tape. This is harder to see through, but this is perfect for a wet method. So if you guys are applying vinyl with water, this works perfect too, but just keep in mind you can't really see through it. So it won't be as easy as it is with the clear. All right, the one I highly recommend is contact paper. This is actually for lining your shelves. You can get it from the Dollar Tree, Walmart, Hobby Lobby, all over the place. And it's clear and it's perfect for resale because you can see right through it. It doesn't have somebody's logo on it. All right, a few more things you're gonna need is some scissors, some weeding tools, a tape measure, as well as a scraper tool of some sort. You could use your credit card, old debit cards, old gift cards, or you can even purchase some like this if you were going to resell them. We actually have a video on here showing you how to package them for resale. So these would be perfect to put your logo on and throw right in the package. All right, so that's everything you're going to need to get started. So we're going to actually be using the iPad today. You could do this with your laptop, desktop, and then we're going to be using the Cricut Explorer 3. Now, the size you want to stick around is around 5 to 6 inches long, and then if you were going to be doing like a very long one, you would want to do around 3 inches, like if it was a little saying. And it just kind of depends. I'm going to show you in a second, by putting in the size that it may become way too long or way too tall. So you just want to kind of eyeball it and keep a tape measure handy so you don't make it too big or too small. All right, so one of the things you can do right away is you could, select everything and turn it into one solid color. Or for me, I'm going to be doing, for example, the dog and the dog prints in that purple holographic. And then the Get Off My Tail is all going to be white. So you could, select those one at a time and change the color. Or if you hold them down with your iPad, you could select all of them at the same time and change them all together. All right, so once I've got that going on, this is how I want mine to look. But you could also just select everything and attach it, and it would all turn one solid color. So that's a lot of decals when it comes to vehicles, is like the white, like I said, just one solid color. But you could definitely feel free to do multiple. So I'm going to go ahead and hit the back button because we're going to do 2 different colors. And then we're pretty much ready to go. Last things we have here is to size it down. So what I'm going to go ahead and do here is just make sure that I select all of this. So I can go ahead and hide my dog and the dog prints, and then I can select all of these pieces here to make sure they attach. I want them to cut at the exact same time, or once again, you can hold those individual for just a second and you can select each one to get them all together. All right, so everything looks good. Now we're going to go ahead and size it like I said. So you're just going to select everything at one time and then go in here. Now I'm going to start off with the 6 inches. So I'll type in that 6 inches tall, and then it gave me like 10 inches wide. So we know that's way too big. So that's why I said play around. Every single design is going to be different. So I've got those dimensions in here. I'm going to go ahead and pull back out that tape measure and look and say, okay, it's going to be around 6 inches wide and around 3.5 tall. So I've decided, okay, I'll bring it to the 4 inches. And let's see what that gives us wide. So I think it gives us around 6.8 or something like that. So I'll go ahead and input that now and then, see if I'm going to be happy with that. So I think I'm happy with this. This looks really good. Like I said, it's really handy just to keep a tape measure or a ruler close to you so you can really eyeball that. All right, so once you are ready to go, now we are ready to, go ahead and send everything over. Now I'm using the Cricut Explorer 3, so I'm going to go ahead and use one on the mat and one without the mat. Now I need to go ahead and go change my machine really quickly. I had it on the Joy last, so I'm going to select that here and switch it over to the Cricut Explorer 3, and then we'll hit the maker again, make it, and then we're going to choose multiple ways. So this is going to allow us to use no mat and then use a mat. So I'm going to go ahead and do that here. And then so it's just going to go ahead and let us know how big of a piece of material I need to cut for without the mat, and then the one that I'm going to need to cut with the mat. All right, so once you have that, I don't need to mirror anything because this is not iron-on. When you're working with adhesive vinyl, you don't have to mirror anything. All right, so once we are ready to go, we're going to go ahead and hit make it. All right, so once we do that, we are going to go ahead and start lining everything up. Now, I'm going to go ahead and choose that I'm using the Smart Vinyl Permanent for my white, because I'm going to use my roll holder here. You definitely don't have to do this. I'm just showing you in case you do have one. I'm going to use my roll holder as well as my white roll, because then I don't have to cut anything down. I can just go ahead and feed this right underneath here, slide it underneath those white feet, and load it. So I don't have to measure anything, so it's really handy. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and quickly let my machine cut this one out. When you're using the, no mat, your machine has a sensor, and it's just kind of measuring to figure out how long your material is, just to make sure that there is enough. So we're going to go ahead and let the machine do its work, cut everything out for us, and we're going to go ahead and prep up and get ready for our next color. Now, I'll slide this back just a little bit, and I'm going to use the paper trimmer that is, attached to the roll holder. Move that out of the way and unload this one. So I'll set this one aside, get ready to prep up the next. Now for this one, I'm going to go to all materials and I'm going to choose holographic. I'm just going to start typing in HOLO and it's going to pop right up. I'm just going to use, the holographic vinyl. So I'm going to go ahead and choose that now. All right. So now we are ready to trim this down. I'm going to go ahead and use my blue mat here as well as my paper trimmer to go ahead and trim this down. Now, whenever you're trimming down your material, you want to cut the shortest length first. So say, for example, I'm cutting down a 5 by 8 inch piece, or it's a 4 by 8. You want to cut the 4 or 5 inches first and then the 8 inches. Instead of cutting 8 inches of material, cut the shortest side first. That's what's going to save your material. So I'm going to go ahead and just slide this underneath here and trim this down. So decals are perfect for, like I said, laptops. You could use them for your tumblers. You could be doing car decals, all sorts of different things. They're super duper easy to make, lots of different ways. So I'm gonna go ahead and just continue to trim this down here. And I love this holographic. Isn't it super pretty? They have different ones that are circles. This one is their threads, and I love it. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and get everything out of our way so we can go ahead and load this on our mat. So I'm going to get this up here. Highly recommend using the blue mat. It's one of my favorites. It releases everything super easy. That green mat has just a little bit too much tack. So I save that for, glitter and stuff like that. But for materials like this, I recommend using the blue. All right, so I'm going to slide this under my feet here, load it into my machine, and we've already chose our settings and everything like that, so we are just ready to hit go. So I'll let the machine do its thing really quick. Now, in the meantime, while this one's cutting out, I highly recommend if you're doing layers, go ahead and start weeding out your other pieces to save time, so you're not wasting time in between. So I'm just going to go ahead and weed this out and pull out all of these little pieces here. So not a whole lot that you need here from material, your transfer tape, your weeding tool. You could just do a pair of scissors and stuff too. So not a whole lot of stuff that you need here. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and unload this here, flip this right off here, and then we are good to go. Now, I'm going to go ahead for whenever you're working with these holographics, it's easier to just use your fingers to weed. You could use your weeding tool, but it's a thicker material. So highly recommend that you guys just use your fingers. Now, before you wad up your material, if you will, definitely make sure you're not missing any pieces. See how I'm missing a toe? Sometimes I'll set those aside, like kind of hang it on my counter. And once I'm done, I'll go back and kind of squish it up and then throw it away, because now I can go back and find that little piece of toe. Whereas, if you crumble it up, you'll have to unwind all that. So now I'm going to set this in the middle so I can take a piece of transfer tape and figure out about how big of material I need. Now, when it comes to transfer tape, what's really cool is you can use it over and over and over again. So you could definitely put it back on its backer and use it again. So if it's something for personal use, hang on to that backer until you get your design on, and then you can put it back. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and bring in my little Excel scraper tool here, and then I'm going to go ahead and peel this up. Now, one thing that I recommend here is using some parchment paper. If you've got parchment paper, a Teflon sheet or something like that, you can actually put it in between the two layers. I'm going to show you guys here in just a minute. So I'm going to go ahead and peel this back. We're going to pick up our first layer. So you always want to pick up, whatever's going to be on the very top. I'm going to get it nice and centered. So wherever it is, so say if it was a heart that's all the way to the right, you'd want to go and have that on the right side of this. But since this is the middle of my design, I'm going to get it right in the middle, because I'm going to peel this back and I'm going to lay it on to my next layer. So we're just going to go ahead and take that scraper tool, make sure you rub that in very well, and then we're going to take our backing here and just quickly peel it right off. Now, when you're using smart material, you want to rub really quickly. It'll help kind of get that to attach to the transfer tape a lot easier. All right, so we are ready to line this up. Now, this is the time you're going to go grab that parchment paper. You can get this at Walmart and all over. So even the Dollar Tree. We're going to go ahead and line this right up just like this, leaving just a little gap at the top so I can get this on the backer. So now what I can do is take my design here and I can set it right on top of that parchment, because it's not going to stick to the parchment paper at all. So you can kind of set this on here, and then once it's on here, I can kind of move around the parchment paper to line this up. That way I don't mess up and commit too early. Once you figure out that exact placement, I could go ahead and take the very top that is sticking up there at the top, rub it down enough to where it's sticking, so I can just reach underneath and pull out that parchment paper to get rid of it. So you just don't want to shift that bottom layer, and then you're going to lay it right down. Take your squeegee tool there. Once again, you could use old gift cards and debit cards and all those things. So you're just going to go ahead and rub this in very well. Now, if this is for resale, you definitely want to make sure that you rub it in. It's called burnishing. You want to rub to really get that in there, because you don't want to sell this and then your customer gets it and it's not attaching to the transfer. So before you ship it out, make sure that you guys definitely do the work before the customer has to. If it's for personal use, feel free to do whatever you would like, but just if it's for resale, like I said, take the time to really make sure you burnish it in there very good. So the next thing you want to do, if this is for resale, if it's not, just peel it right off and get ready to go stick it on whatever you're needing to stick it on. But if it's for resale, you want to go ahead and take a pair of scissors, your paper trimmer, and trim all the way around to make it super nice. You want to make it very nice and clean cut. And then you want to print off like a little instruction sheet that tells somebody how to do it, and then include maybe a little scraper tool, or if not, let them know they can use an old debit card, gift card, driver's license or something like that. So as you guys can see here, how nice this looks with that holographic, but you definitely could have just done all white and it would have been just as cute. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. If you did, please hit the like button down below and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one.